Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the vCD Roundtable. Today we are with the Toby in blurry mode for whatever reason.
Completely.
Today we are only three people. Matthias is at a customer, actually spreading all his vCD knowledge. So we are down to just the three of us for today. And we thought we are going to give you a bit of a summary about what happened at the architecture think tank in Austin, Texas, 3 weeks, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And what we have planned for the remainder of the year, talk a bit about VMware Explore, what we are going to expect there, some of the latest things around licensing and a few other things, and then I think we can call it a day again. But I mean, there is also, at least it seems like we have a date now for the release of the next vCD version, but we will cover that as well. So with me today is Sasha.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sasha.
And Toby.
And hello to episode 31. My name is Toby.
Good. Sasha, we did the first public architecture think tank. I mean, the event by itself is not, I mean, it's partially new. We did something similar before together with the VMware professional services team, primarily internally within VMware for many years before the pandemic. We did a few similar things in between. But we thought it's a good idea to actually bring architects from all different sizes of service providers together in a room. And the first initiation of that event actually happened in Austin in the US 2 weeks ago. And we had everything in there from small providers from a white label perspective, our premier partners, and also one Pinnacle provider from the US. And so that gave us a good mixture. We had all kinds of different topics, which Sasha can talk a bit more about what topics we covered. But it seems like the format is highly interesting. So it's not, let's say a PowerPoint presentation scenario. It's really getting everybody in a room with a whiteboard and actually then discuss specific design scenarios. We actually closed the architecture think tank with, I think, which was a very nice exercise to close with. And potentially we keep that for future events as well, because the idea from the audience was to actually draw up kind of what would the greenfield design based on our current knowledge for, let's say, a standard service provider look like as an outcome. And that includes all the learnings from the 2 or 3 days. So I think it was a very successful event. Sasha, can share a bit about some more of the specific topics, because you led most of these groups then.
Yeah, so it was very interesting to see the different interests from the different service providers, from the different persons. What's currently interesting for the service providers in the complete cloud director and also the VMware field. So we started with, write down all of the topics that are interesting for the service provider, starting from network designs, how we can make changes. So one part of the service providers was very interested on, how we can bring in third-party firewalls depending on all of the changes of the licensing now with VCF and the firewall licenses. Other ones are interested in what can we do with Cloud Director and NSX. So give some ideas. What's possible, what's not possible, how can I, let's call it, save money with saving cores, or how can I create a concept with a dedicated cluster, for example, with advanced threat protection. But also we had a big topic on the ARIA part, talking about what's possible with ARIA, monitoring, bring out log files, combine all of the informations we need now, because many of the service providers still want to charge their customers on VRAM, because that's currently in the contract, and the service providers don't want to change all contracts. And that was also a topic, how can we use vRealize operations to count the current VRAM topics. Yeah, and the most and biggest part of this architecture think tank was the VCF part. So talking about VCF, how to design VCF, what's possible with VCF, how to go with shared environments versus dedicated environments. Do I go with a dedicated management cluster or management, or do I deploy separate infrastructures per customer or per site? So many different topic. Also, what's possible or not possible with stretched environments. If I have 2 data centers, what are the limitations? So there were a lot of topics we talked about, and it was very interesting to see the different views from different service providers. So we had service providers focusing on dedicated, other ones focusing primarily on shared environments. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, and so for those who want to attend this at one of our next excursions, so we plan to run one later this year in most likely the Frankfurt area. That's the current plan, at least. We will still need to finalize a few things, but we will, when the post goes on the YouTube channel and everything else, we will post in the comments the actual dates, and we will also have that on social media in different formats. When you follow the Common Vision people, you will see the dates coming out pretty soon, and we will also pretty soon announce what's going to be the save the date for next year's US architecture thing. So that is going to be that one. The other thing we wanted to cover is some of the service providers who are listening in here might have attended one of our challenge days in the past. The challenge days were a 2-day event, which were primarily focused on a more technical audience, where we really do more of a hands-on scenario. So in the past, you could play around with Kubernetes and a bunch of other things. Due to the old structure, these events were sponsored primarily by the aggregators together with VMware in the past. As the times have changed, that we now have Pinnacle, Premier, and white label providers, the model is going to change moving forward, and as such, there will be a new structure, but the challenge days are going to come back for Q3 and Q4, most likely more end of Q3 and then Q4. We currently expect that there will be at least 2 more for EMEA and 2 more for the US. And we will let you know how to sign up for those. And those of you who actually are white label providers with us, some of you have that included already in your service packs. Some of you actually can get discounts based on the contracts and stuff like that. We will ping you. Everybody else, there will be a form. And we are working together with the CCMs. So in regards to giving them also discounted seats for that. We are currently finalizing the agenda for that one. So whilst we will still focus on the on some specific topics, we will definitely cover migration to VCF, because that is going to be an interesting topic for many service providers. So how to get your current infrastructure to VCF. We might have an AI lab ready for that, but that will be more likely towards the Q4 editions of it, because we are still in negotiation from a hardware and everything else perspective. There are a few more things which need to fall into place for that, but that's on the plan, and a few other things from a third-party integration will come there as well. So that's another type of event which is going to come. So 2 more in Europe, 2 more in the US for that. Up until year end is the plan. We might run one around the Explore timeframe in Barcelona, but that's not yet confirmed, because that might be easiest for people to attend. But again, we will keep you posted on those ones. Other than that, we are also going to be at Explore in Las Vegas. We have our customer briefing center actually already approved and announced, and we are going to be there the complete conference days. So we are still working on the agenda, what we are going to host in the conference in our briefing center from time to time. So while we have that For customer meetings, we might also run smaller sessions there, like workshops, if you want to attend those. Stay tuned on our social media channels for that as well, so that we give you informations about that. And we are also working on a few fun events around Vegas. So stay tuned and watch the ComDivision channels for those as well. If one of them actually becomes highlighted. Those who actually have been in the past, the ComDivision and Friends dinner is confirmed as well. It's going to be on the Sunday before VMware Explore. Invites for those who are going to be invited will start to go out somewhere next week. That's an invite-only event, so you can actually beg for actually being invited, but that's we are very, very limited from a seats perspective, so that's not open, but we are working on something more open like what we did in Barcelona last year. So that's, I think, a good overview on what's coming from an events perspective. Toby, anything I missed?
No, not from my side, I think. So yeah, Explore tickets are still on sale. I think the early bird phase got extended, but it will be run out, or has it run out this week?
I think officially it was ending 18th of June. I haven't checked yet because thanks to all the people in the community, I got actually a press pass. So
yeah. I think there was some messages about that the early bird phase has been extended, but I think it was until last week. So yeah, still from my perspective, a good idea to attend Explore, especially at the phase where we are currently. Hopefully until Explore all of the dust is settled and all of the systems are working again. So hopefully we will get there some many useful informations. But other than that,
yeah, the content catalog is live as well now. So
content catalog is live, yeah.
So you can see what sessions are there and what are going to be there. But I mean, keep in mind what we have been saying is so early bird ended. I just pulled up the calendar. Early bird ended on the 18th of June, so this Tuesday.
Yeah.
You can still get the savings pass, which is ending on July 15th, which is in the middle between the regular and the early bird pricing. And then afterwards, you're on regular pricing and moving forward. The last time I checked, you could also still get rooms in the Venetian or Palazzo with the tickets, so that was actually an option as well. That way, you save yourself a lot of forth and back. I mean, some people tend to like to walk, but remember, it's pretty warm end of August in Vegas, and if you are spending, the last time I was there, the Uber prices were pretty high. If you are spending $40 on an Uber each way every day, then it's always a question on how much cheaper your hotel is in the end. But so that's that. But the most important part for the conference, from my perspective, is always the networking part, not so much. Yeah. Some of the sessions are valuable, but the more is actually out of meeting people, meeting the community, talking to other colleagues and suppliers. And I think that is what will not have changed. I think it's going to be even stronger from that perspective. I think people, especially this year, are going to be looking even more towards the networking aspect and learning from others on how they deal with all the changes. So that's by itself is a good reason. And again, if you are new to the service provider parts or anything like that, feel free to drop us a note. We will have links on social media pretty soon. You can also set up meetings and all kinds of other things with us. So we are easy to catch. Let's go like that. And you get a 50% voucher of your VCP or VCAP exam if you want to do it. And but you need to take it on site. So.
After funny nights, it's easy to take
after
it.
funny night, just quickly do an exam.
You could do that on the first day.
Yeah, but that's not
the last.
After the ComDivision and Friends dinner.
Yes. perfect timing. No,
Okay.
so yeah. So that's Explore. The other Explore in Barcelona, I think call for paper is closed now, or is not yet
it's
closed?
closed now for
I
calls
think
for
it's
people.
closed. And that's going to be in November again. So 4 to 7, location as always, like the last 10 years.
Since 2013. No, 2012, sorry. 2012 was the first in Vegas. In Barcelona.
Yeah. So, yeah, we will do something in Barcelona as well. We will not have a customer briefing center in Barcelona. It's all far more complicated. So we can't run the same in Barcelona, but we are still working on some ideas for Barcelona as well. So that's going to be interesting as well. And yeah, what else do we have from an events perspective? I think that's it. I mean, one more architecture think tank this year, 4 more challenge days, plus 2 explores. That's already quite a bit, plus a few other events. Those of you out of Germany and who are working with Aero, at least some of us are going to be at the Aero Summerfest in a few weeks' time. So if you want to meet us there, that's also a great opportunity from that. So let's switch topics then, as we covered the events. Let's switch topic quickly to the licensing parts. The licensing guide got updated once again. And they now changed again the topic around disabling cores. So the newest version now says again, you can no longer disable cores. Whereas there is a secondary document which still says you can. So in the end, the big question is what's going to rule. According to the contract, license guide wins over the other document, but we will see. So stay tuned for those last minute changes in that document set still. Other than that, you will see that the CCMs have started to ask for your final commits. So if you're a Premier or Pinnacle partner, provider, then if you haven't been asked yet, you will be asked in the next couple of days, most likely, about what's going to be your final commit count. And then you need to actually announce that towards the aggregator. Then they will come back with a quote. Then you need to file the PO for it. Keep in mind that per commit, or per commit unit, or however that is called, you can only do 2 changes per year. So that has changed as well. But there are a bit more creative models on how you can construct your contract. Your CCM should be able to help you there. So that's important. The other thing is, from at least from what we heard, Broadcom has a list of all the providers which have not actually been showing up in any of the other programs. So the opportunity to declare that you want to continue use the licenses under the old terms ended on 31st of May. So if you haven't submitted that you wanted to do that, that form is offline by now. So you can no longer actually declare that. So that in that specific case, if you did not do that, and if you did not sign up with a white label host and be registered partner with Broadcom, you are currently in the stage of, from a Broadcom perspective, that Broadcom is expecting that you actually terminated your licenses on the 31st of, on the 1st of April or 31st of March, and that you are no longer using any of the software. I heard the wonderful news from several providers who said it's like, what the hell was that? We heard the wonderful news from some providers who said, but yeah, they terminated the contract so they can't audit me. At least I looked in one of our older contracts, and when I read that, I'm pretty sure they can audit you. Again, I'm not a legal advisor. You should better actually check that. But at least how I read that, it clearly says it's like up to 3 years after contract termination, you can be audited. And the question in the end is, do you really want to run down that scenario? If not, I would suggest it's like you better reach out immediately to any of the white label hosts, including us, for example, and try to actually sneak under one of those umbrellas. because they are making the announcement for the commits now. And so if you sneak in there later, it will be very obvious that you sneaked in there later. So better hurry up if you haven't actually done anything yet, because that might otherwise end up in a surprise for you. I'm not sure what Broadcom is really going to do, but at least we know that they collected the list for that. We will see. Any other license changes last minute, Sasha, which people potentially didn't catch yet?
I think we mentioned that transmission control is out, so that's not longer included. And for those service providers using vSphere with Tanzu, the ALB Essentials is still included. So that's one interesting topic that's new. But other than that, we don't know change in the last 4 weeks.
4 weeks, no.
Which I think is good. It feels like that everything comes into or falls now step by step into stable places. Also on the cloud portal, you can actually review the consumption by now. So at least it tells you the VCF course. Sasha, when you analyzed all our sub-CSPs, did you see any of the systems report any NSX or anything from the ones which I checked? Oh, it reported them? Okay. Then I checked the wrong ones.
Not reported. So only they want to go with NSX. They are not able to report it now with the current version. So the only thing they report on the usage meter is vCD or the course, physical course. That's the only point they currently can record. Will become interesting. Also, many new, or that's new for many of the white labels from us, where we said, hey, we are not longer able to provide you usage meter reports with VRAM. And that's a big point because they have no system integrated to bill their customers or metering the customers' VRAM. And now they are standing in front of a big problem because they don't have data for the last months. And so, we had a lot of meetings in the last days and weeks with about ARIA operations to deploy ARIA operations and create reports for VRAM.
Yes, but so Ella and others from our team are working on that, but that will only work for if you have so that will not actually give you historical data, as long as you hadn't had ARIA operations already running. What we can help you now with is actually creating reports so that you get something similar like VRAM and actually get the data export. So those are things which we have already, I would say, more or less standardized and ready. But for everything else, it's like if you did not record the data and you were hoping that VMware would actually give you data for April and May, pooh-hoo, there is no data. We were also pretty happy when we first got the announcement. It's like you can now pull reports again, and we went in there and immediately saw it's like, all we get is VCF cores. So that from that perspective. Good. So that's that part. How about the vCD release?
It is now officially terminated.
What does it mean? It's officially terminated.
No, it has got an official appointment or the release date to be. But let's see if this is really rising up.
Yeah, but it's at least on the release list.
So yeah, it is on the release list.
Yeah. Good. Well, as speaking about release lists, something which some of our providers had to learn in the last couple of days, quite a bit, is that once a system is end of general support, Broadcom will remove access to it. It's not like in the good old days within VMware. If VMware patched something for extended support for some providers, then it was made available for everybody else.
Nope.
It actually falls under extended support. You cannot get access to it. So as long as you're not paying for it. So better be careful that you actually watch that from that perspective. The other thing, and I'm not sure who was actually so clever to actually repost that, it was Toby, there was a security advisory. The patches showed up on Monday. The security advisory came out on Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
That's a bit of an odd flow. Normally it runs the other way around, but nevertheless, if you haven't done so, patch your vCenters, period. It's like you can watch my video, you can watch other people's videos. Do that afterwards. First, patch your vCenter.
Patch your vCenter and
just patch it fast.
And utilize please, for those who are already on VCF, please utilize the asynchronous patch tool. Otherwise, you're also doomed. So please patch, and for normal vCenter only customers, patch it, and for VCF customers, asynchronous patch tool, and patch also there your vCenter. We're talking about the scoring from 9.8.
Yeah, and for all those who actually have been on social media in the last couple of days, I had some posts below my post as well. It's like where people were, it's like, oh, see, now that Broadcom has it, it's actually going to get worse. When you read through the analysis, the issues were in the software quite a bit longer. And it's not that any other vendors that do not have less issues with security scenarios. The more important part is once it's out there, is that you immediately take action. That is also why we started to create the newsletter where we have blog posts, videos, and other things which are published by our team, where we are actually analyzing the security advisories as soon as they come out and showcase that to the to you, so that you have a bit of an understanding on what's behind that, because we know and we understand that not everybody is always fully aware of what's the consequences behind these patches. So we take that on us and actually give you the information about that. And if you want to have that, please actually subscribe to the newsletter so that you will get that once new patches and once new incidents. Good. Oh, I think Sasha just got a breaking newsletter. I handed in from the side. This is how this looks like in a news show always. If someone actually brings in a piece of paper from the side, you see an arm coming.
Breaking news.
So, any breaking news on our Vegas events? No. Good. Okay. I think this covers it. We hope that then next time, after we announced it already for the last 2 times, we can then finally do the vCD 10.6 release update. I think it's reasonable that the next episode is going to be vCD 10.6. And we can keep you posted on the latest on that one. We might also have I think there was at least a VCF patch or a smaller update or something which is going to come before Explore. Maybe not. We will see. Keep you posted on those, and then give you also the latest on our event schedule and everything else. We will quickly go over that in the next session. So if you want to attend one of them, and maybe we also come up with a crazy idea in the future that we potentially give out a discount code or something like that for our listeners if they want to attend one of our events. Good. That being said, any final words, Sasha? Anything I missed? Anything I skipped?
No, I think we covered all of it. So,
great.
Yeah, happy to see you on any of our events.
Or anywhere else.
Or anywhere else. Yeah. Also from my side, thanks for joining, and see you on one of the next events.
Wonderful. Thank you, and goodbye.
Bye.